The Afghan resettlement scheme, which I always said was a complete joke, has been exploited. According to an Afghan interpreter who came to Britain, he said that during the Afghan data leak, the only risk that these people faced was that they might face unemployment in Afghanistan. Hundreds of them have returned back to their own country for holidays since they were relocated to Britain, and also they had staged videos of torture in order, God, I can't believe I did that, but they've staged those videos in order to get to Britain. We have been turned over in a video that almost none of you watched yesterday. I told you that cyber security in Britain had had its budget slashed by £1 billion in order to pay for this resettlement scheme, and yet it was a complete and total joke. Hello everyone, this is Andre Walker. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please do subscribe, but more importantly, please donate to the Patriot Fund. We are funding right-wing projects right across the country. Okay, so I'm going to get my laptop out, which I don't often do, but I'm just going to read you this story very quickly, and then I'm going to comment on it, just because it's going to be easier to do that. Okay, so here we go. Hundreds of Afghans who've been relocated to Britain under a multi-billion-pound scheme to protect them from the Taliban have returned to Afghanistan for holidays and other trips, an Afghan source has revealed. The source, himself a former interpreter who served with British forces in Afghanistan before also starting a new life in the UK, said the excursions were evidence that the threat some of his countrymen say they are facing as part of their past links to the British have been exaggerated. Their only threat is unemployment, the man told Sky News, requesting anonymity to avoid repercussions for speaking out. The source has direct knowledge of how the previous Conservative government processed applications for resettlement to the UK in the chaos that followed the Taliban's return to power 4 years ago. He alleged that the Afghan Relocation and Assistance Policy, ARAP, which is under intense parliamentary scrutiny following revelations in July about a major data breach, has been open to exploitation by Afghans simply seeking a better life in Britain. He said examples of the exploitation were this: multiple cases of applicants sending British officials faked Taliban threat letters, staged torture videos, and false claims of Taliban attacks against them or their close relatives as evidence of dangers they were in. The Afghans being resettled in the UK, despite already being granted asylum in other safe countries such as Denmark or Belgium. Individuals being accepted for relocation even though they only worked 1 or 2 days in their entire life for British forces. Applicants pushing to bring in large extended families as well as their spouse, their children. This includes parents, siblings, nephews, nieces, and even in some cases, second wives. Under the scheme, an individual is granted relocation is allowed to bring their spouse and any dependent children under the age of 18. They have also falsely claimed that their children who are over the age of 18 are in fact under the age of 18. Now, it's not particularly unusual for people to seek asylum from countries in the United Kingdom and then go on holiday to those countries as soon as they're granted a British passport. When we look at the case in Sudan, where there had to be British nationals evacuated, those were British nationals who'd sought refuge in Britain. Then they'd been given benefits in council houses in Britain, and then they were able to go back to their country of origin and claim all the money back in that country by international wire transfer. And also they were able to rent out the homes to other people. So what would often happen, I've seen it myself, British people will be made homeless in order to make space for refugees, and then the refugees will return to their country of origin and rent out the homes back to the British people that were thrown out of them. But now instead of that rent going to the government, the rent now goes to the people of Sudan or wherever. So it's not unusual for that to happen, but this is kind of the first time that the British government has been implicated in assisting in this. And so we've seen enormous numbers of people come over. We saw with the Gaza thing, where I think it was about 10 children came over to receive treatment. They brought 100 dependents with them, not each. They brought 100 dependents with them, between them. So I think this new thing is about to become bigger, isn't it? And I've said that, where what happens now is, we've got this right to family life, and now people are getting onto it, and they've realised that what you can do is you can say, I am now in Britain, I have a right to bring my entire family, all 20 of them. There was a debate about the Afghan resettlement scheme. Some people said that the person that brought the largest number of dependents was 25. Somebody said it was 125. Well, even if it was the lower number, and we don't really know if I'm being totally honest, but even if it was the lower number, it would be a colossal number of people. Well, of course, now that we have opened the floodgates to absolutely everything, haven't we? Because if you can claim the right to come to this country, if your human rights are being undermined anywhere in the world and you've had any interactions with the United Kingdom government, then that enables, 100, 200, 300 million people access to the United Kingdom and citizenship. And of course, we've got all those people who are heading towards their right, indefinite leave to remain, put my teeth back in. There's 1.7 million of those, mostly from the Islamic world, and they will all be entitled to bring their entire families. I say that that will be an extra 10 million British citizens in the next 5 to 10 years. So this country will be completely, it will just become almost like Jerusalem, where there are lots of nationalities, and it's not really a country with any particular, it's not really a territory that's a part of any particular country at all. Of course, that's what people like Sadiq Khan and Keir Starmer want. I think it's sad, really, what's happened with the Afghan resettlement scheme. We know that these people are not entitled to come to the UK, but nonetheless, they've been allowed to come in their droves. And of course, the people that are coming in, we've not vetted them in the sense that we don't know whether they are genuine or they're fake. We don't know whether they're going to be supportive of this country or against. We do know that they're from a backward country. And I've said this before, and I could put it to music, that the principal problem we've got is not with Islam. The principal problem we've got is with third world immigration. And I'm afraid Afghanistan is the thirdest of third worlds. It is a place where really the modern world has passed it by. It is still very much in the Middle Ages. There is a small amount of modern technology, but really very little. And to think that people were able to get in. And by the way, the people in the Afghan data leak, they are able to claim millions in compensation. They are going to be a new aristocracy in Britain because of what's happened. But of course, they have got here because they've staged torture videos, written fake letters, and created threats to themselves that don't exist. And then as soon as they were accepted on the scheme, they went on holiday back to Afghanistan to see their relatives. Well, of course, they've got money now. What a lot of them will do, as I said, with Sudan, is what they'll do is they'll go back to Afghanistan. They'll live there. They'll go on holiday there officially, but they'll start living there. And that will, of course, mean that we will simply be paying benefits to them, but they won't be living in the United Kingdom. Now, there's some benefit to that. It alleviates the number of people in Britain, and it reduces the number of potential criminals and people from the third world that are in our towns and cities. And so that does make things easier. But of course, there is a cost associated with it. Well, please do donate to the Patriot Fund. The link is below. Until next time, goodbye.